They
We
met through mutual.
We were dating
Oh, you were dating.
in,
So she was worried about you while you were in the war.
service. In service. Well, worried and not worried. I mean, she was very free to some of my buddies that dated her and things like that.
Whoa! Sounds like quite a woman that you married, huh?
Yeah.
That's
And then
wonderful.
we married for 47 years.
That's fantastic. Well, I think that's great that you were married for 47 years. You had a great son. We can tell. We just met him, but Les and I both know he's a great son. And that you have now a chance. I don't know if you realize this or not, but 3 weeks ago when I was here, I watched the other residents, the other people who come here, honor you, recognize you. And it's really something. They love being able to talk to you because they know you're an American hero. They know you were in the war, and they know that there were some special stories. That's why, with your permission, we're going to give an extra DVD, unless it's taking note, to Joe's Club, so they can watch this video. Is that okay with you? There you go. That'll save you having to talk a lot all the time. Anyway, I don't want to overdo it. I just want to say, Kenneth, thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Don. And
Ray,
Les.
thank you.
Thank you, Les.
Les is going to put all this together in great camera work. And we'll say again to conclude here, the Veterans History Project, which was founded as a no-cost program by the Library of Congress, is an important way for us to always keep the memory of individual service members alive.
I never knew that part.
Exactly. It's one of these many things that government does that doesn't get well advertised.
Yeah.
But here in Brevard County, Les and others that we've been working for 4 years now, and you will be the 182nd, hey, that's neat, 82nd video that we have in the Brevard County area. And about, I think, less 40 of them are World War II veterans. So we're very honored to add you to that.
Very honored.
And that'll be on record at the Veterans Memorial Center. And it goes to the Library of Congress, and then 2 copies, one copy to you and 1 copy here for Joe's Place. Anyway, I thank you very, very much. Is there anything you'd like to say in farewell? You want to put your hat back on and look professional? Your hair was a little messed up.
Hat hair.
Thank you very much.
Thank
I
you.
really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Enjoy it.
Okay, Les, you can.
Now it's quiet.
How can you tell?
See the red right there? REC?
Oh, okay.
This right here. You can edit all. He can edit all this out from the
Okay.
beginning. Yeah.
My name is Don Weaver with the Brevard Veterans Memorial Center. We're here today to do an interview with a very special veteran who has since passed. The veteran is Ray Ronaldo LeBron. Mr. LeBron served in the United States Army during World War II. Today's date, when we're reconstructing this interview, is the 19th of December 2019. The interview and this project is done on behalf of the Veterans History Project, an official U.S. government program, which will mean that this interview and the story of Mr. LeBron will go forward to the Library of Congress. We'll have a copy remain here at the Veterans Memorial Center on Merritt Island, and will also be given to the family so that they can remember that story of Mr. LeBron and his heroism in World War II. I would like to say and apologize from the front that technical issues when we interviewed Mr. LeBron on the 6th of December were such that we were not able to have his actual videotape. But in the second part of this video, you'll see his picture and photos of his various military decorations and awards, which we'll talk a little bit about today. So the family, I hope, will forgive us and be in a position to go forward, remembering their father, their grandfather, their great-grandfather as an American military patriot during World War II. Let's begin the story of Mr. LeBron in New York City. He was a high school sophomore when Pearl Harbor was attacked, and his parents would not hear anything other than finish high school and then do something. So he joined the Army toward the end of 1943 and went into training near New York City and was deployed to England. His unit was deployed as a medical unit and responsible for supporting the invasion of Europe at D-Day, but because we had many more troops that could actually be there at D-Day itself, his unit ended up being deployed at the 10th day after D-Day. They found heavy resistance in France, moved forward in steady fashion. It is estimated that during that period, at least 3 or 4 of his combat buddies were saved. Their lives were saved by the actions of by now PFC LeBron. He became a corporal during this movement, and then as summer turned to to fall, and turned again to winter, the Battle of the Bulge begins. Our military was completely surprised. During that period of time, we had 90,000 casualties during a 3-week period, many of whom were killed in action. On one of those days, as trying to find out where the enemy was to stage a counterattack to against the large German forces, now Corporal LeBron was asked to go forward and recon enemy positions. He spotted the enemy, and all of a sudden he heard thump, thump, thump. Mortar rounds were bracketing the American positions. At that point, he said quickly to contact and tell the men to stop going forward. He risked his own life to run to direct the men to go back, to get in safe positions, because the Germans were in another counterattack. That same day, in December of 1944, he received wounds from that mortar attack and gave every indication that he wanted him to be treated last, but he was treated. He was sent to the rear and eventually to England and eventually back to America. He never set foot on German soil, but his heroism, his contribution to the defeat of Germany, it was substantial. As a result of that action, not only did he receive the Purple Heart, which was the award begun in George Washington's time to recognize bravery in combat and wounds in combat, but he also received the Bronze Star, heroism under combat conditions, as well as later on from the French government, the French award for liberating their country, the Legion de l'Honneur. And he proudly had that and in a very beautiful shadow box, which you will see together later on in this program. When Mr. LeBron recovered from his wounds, he was able to lead a very full life with a great family. He spent most of his years professionally in the New York area, ended up in Florida living with his son Ken and their family here. Ken was always supporting Ray, as Ronaldo was known to everybody, and Ray became a fixture at Joe's place, Joe's home, at the Alzheimer's Treatment Center, as he developed Alzheimer's later on. But when I interviewed Ray before he passed, it was clear to me, once he started talking about the military, he was very comfortable. Alzheimer's was behind him, and he was recognizing that role in what he played in the service of our country. It was also during that interview that I got to know Ray, and I got to know about how important he was as a hero to all the other patients at the Alzheimer's Foundation, Joe's Place in Melbourne, where he would go many times and be recognized by a lot of the other patients there. So while his last days were challenging, I want to tell a story that Ken, his son, told me. I was driving home from another meeting after we'd done the interview that morning. Ken called and said, Don, I can't believe that I'm calling to tell you this, but I want you to know that my father passed at 4 o'clock the same afternoon he was interviewed. But he was happy. I was with him, family was there, and more importantly, it was clear to me that he was glad he finally, after 94 years, had told his story about his World War II service, about his dedication to our Army, to his battle buddies, to the people he helped to save, and to his family and our country that was left behind. He lost a lot of good friends during those combat operations, and he always maintained that he would himself would lead a good life. He was indeed a very, very interesting person, a great American. His family had settled in New York and has become a family with great roots, truly an immigrant family that made America a success story and contributed heavily to the United States of America, to our freedoms. So Ray, as you're up there now, know that we did our best. Again, we're very apologize for the technical problems about the disc, but we hope that by my remembering and telling your story once again, together with the wonderful awards and decorations that is now part of your legacy, remember per this flag, like your flag that will be one day given to your family, this flag is given to the fallen to honor and remember the service and sacrifice that you've made. I'll repeat the words that every time an officer presents a flag to the family, they say, "This is presented to you on behalf of the President of the United States and a grateful nation." So we are in the Veterans History Project in Brevard County here on December 19th, 2019. Very happy to say we present our sincere feeling to the family and to our heartfelt gratitude that if only for a day, we really got to know Ronaldo LeBron, a true American hero. Hello, my name is Don Weaver. I'm with the Veterans Memorial Center and a team of our volunteers here who record Veterans History Project interviews. You're about to see today a really remarkable story. A story about heroism, a story about contribution to country, and a story about how veterans in generations later than the World War II veteran you'll learn about today wanted very much to record his story and give it to his family, give it to the Library of Congress, and give it to the country. It's now the 7th of January, 2020, and I'm sitting before you today, and you'll see me a couple of times after this, where I'll be talking about one former Army corporal. Ray was his nickname, Ronaldo LeBron. Mr. LeBron was a New Yorker. His family had immigrated to the country, and indeed they became a very special family that helped to make America great. What we're doing today is putting together two different pieces that we had to reassemble after some technical issues on the 6th of December 2019 when this interview was first recorded. But you'll see the Mr. LeBron, you'll see the pride, you'll see the spirit that he had. And I want to emphasize, you'll hear a little bit about this in the next segment of this tape, but let me tell you something that certainly has made us very emotional and very happy in the same way. About 3 hours after we recorded the interview on the 6th of December 2019, in his mid-90s, Ray LeBron died. Only a few hours after telling the story about his experience in World War II and after. It was something that I was shocked when his son Ken called me while I was driving from another meeting and said, "Don, I don't want you to be sad. I want you to understand that Ray died today." And he died happy. He knew that he had to tell his story today, and he may have known that today may have been his last chance to tell the story. So, We are here today in honor of Ray and his family to put the whole pieces together and to use this now as a story that we hope will always be shared at the Library of Congress, again, here at the Veterans Memorial Center, Brevard County on Merritt Island, and with his family. We certainly trust in the fact that we know Ray. We got to know him over a month-long period, and we know that he is in great hands now because we know he was welcomed by those people who care about humanity, who care about many others. As I was interviewing Ray, and one thing that we did not end up getting filmed, I was able to look at his array of medals. You'll see all those medals in front of me at a later piece on the film. It was impressive. You keep in mind that Ray was too young to enlist right after the war started at Pearl Harbor, but he was there as soon as he could, as soon as his parents would let him. And he did some major things in a short period of time. He became a leader as a corporal, head of a squad of medical support personnel in a very dramatic combat outfit in France 10 days after D-Day when his unit landed and forced the fight. He was involved in the Battle of the Bulge, one of the most bloody battles in American military history. He was there for the men that he helped to lead, the men that led him, and he was there to the very end. He received serious wounds, and that Purple Heart that we talk about later on in the video, and the Légion d'honneur, the French Legion of Honor, and many, many other awards. I counted a total of 17 major military awards. Think about this. How can you be in the Army in a combat situation for a total of 2.5 months and earn those many awards? You have to be special. You have to be a leader, and he was. So please, to Ken and the entire LeBron family, thank you for arranging that chance to interview your dad that day. Thank you all for becoming the great Americans that you've become because of him and many, many other lives that he's impacted. And remember that we here at the Veterans Memorial Center really care about your dad and this man, and we'll always have a backup spare a copy of these interviews now to be combined as we go forward. I'm reminded of a Hollywood movie. It's corny in a way. At the end of Saving Private Ryan, there's a man who survived World War II, and he goes to the grave sites of many of his soldiers who were lost. I don't think that Ray ever did this, but he could have, because he saved several people's lives, many people's lives probably, in that time that he was doing medical and other special duties for that unit. Because of him, not only did his family begin to exist, but many, many other American families were able to survive and thrive. And the French families that every year give a special parade to honor what Ray and all Americans did to liberate France. They still do it every year. The reason he got the Légion d'honneur, the Legion of Honor, is because he was an American military hero. Now watch the rest of the story.